Investor's Edge with Gary Kaltbaum. Straight talk about you and your money. Now from the BizTalk studios, here is Gary Kaltbaum.
And welcome once again to Investor's Edge. I'm Gary Kaltbaum, your host. Hey, thanks for being with us today. Glad you're here, ladies and gentlemen. Happy that you are listening. It is Wednesday, May 15th, 2024. Hope you're having a good day. Lots to cover, lots to talk about. If you do not get this radio show in your city, we'll post it at GaryK.com. We'll also post it on our Twitter feed, which is now X. And if you don't follow us on X, go there, put my name in, and follow us. And you can email us, just be nice. No, really, just be nice. I've gone back and forth with some people that completely disagree with me on some things, but they've been very nice, and I'm very nice back to them. That's how it should be. Yay. Okay. Also, this is serious talk on everything that affects you. And as we go towards the election, we're going to get much more serious. And we're going to state the facts. We're going to state the policies. We're going to state how you feel, how I feel about the policies. And I will explain why. In other words, state with backup as we move forward. They have announced they will do debates. President Biden's acting like it's his idea. No, he was forced into it. I hear there's 2, but there may be 3. And the only thing I was thinking to myself, and I mean this dead seriously, boy, they're lucky I'm not on that dais. I would murder both of them on that dais. I would murder both of them. They wouldn't have a shot with me on that dais. Talking plain simple. We the people. And then go down from there. But I'm not up there. So we get them. The Ebola virus versus the bubonic plague. Well, that's what I named it. Nothing personal. I have to tell you, I've met Donald Trump, but I really haven't. I walked past him at WrestleMania when WrestleMania was at the Trump, was it the Trump's whatever in Atlantic City. That's my meeting with Trump. I've never met Joe Biden. Nothing personal. But these are the CEOs, the 2 past CEOs of this country. And I'm a voter. I count. And I just happen to be a mouthpiece too, so I get to yap it away. And we will do that as we move forward. Now, also, with this show, what we're dead serious about is first and foremost the protection of capital, and secondly, making a bunch of money. Like on January 8th when we said if NVIDIA breaks above 505, buy the hell out of it. And it went right to 900 and change. And yesterday we said it was setting up again. That's up $33 today. And we'll get to that in a minute. But we start today with the protection of capital. And I promise you we'll get into the market because very good day. And some very important things happened today. Of course, tomorrow is another day. But some very good things happened today. But let's go to the meme stocks. Why? Because they're very noisy. And as we told you 2 days ago, when they started ramping up, because amazingly something called Roaring Kitty, a person on Twitter who supposedly was the catalyst, I guess was the catalyst from the first go-round with GameStop, decides to tweet some pictures and videos, and I guess the people that follow that stuff jumped all over it, and GameStop went ape crap to the upside, and it took along that other one, AMC Theaters. They're two very shorted stocks in the market, and just a big wow. And we said to you, on Monday on this show. Ladies and gentlemen, we have no idea how this plays out, how long it lasts, how far it goes. We had no idea the last go round. But, and we said this specifically and to the point, don't be the last one in because they all go back to where they came from. And yesterday they gapped them up. They gapped up GameStop a close of $30.45. They gapped it up to $64.83. They closed it at $48.75. So if you bought the open, you're already losing your butt. And all we said to you was, just be careful. And after the close yesterday, they were up in the aftermarket, but that's not what happened this morning. And I just want to point out something of import. Take it or leave it. I've used the word random when it comes to these moves. Just remember that. I have no idea whether they gap them up or gap them down tomorrow. I have no idea if they ramp them back up to the highs or they just send them down. What I can tell you is a fact. As I speak with a couple of minutes left with the market to close, GameStop is down over 40% from yesterday's open. AMC is down over 55% from yesterday's open. And that's what I mean when I say to you, random. Be careful. Be careful. Imagine buying the open yesterday. Remember what I told you? I was getting people contacting me. What do you think? What do you think? What do you think? And I would try to explain to them, I don't know. One person got pissed off because I said, I don't know. What do you mean you don't know? Like I know. So, again, from just being the voice of protecting capital, just that voice, as I speak, as we close, AMC's down about 55% from yesterday's open. GameStop over 40%. And those are the two that, I don't know if there's any others that have got moves. I think there was a couple of others, but I'm not even going to mention because these are the two that really everybody's been concentrating on. And just remember how much down they are, not how much up they are, because you had no shot of getting in on the upside because the noise didn't start coming out until they were already up big time. Hope you're listening. To me telling you, I don't know. But I do know what happens ultimately. And I don't know when that is. Could it be possible that this was a 2-3 day wonder? Sure. Could they rally him up even farther? Sure. I just don't know. And we're pretty damn good at this. Do I worry about these things? Hell yeah. That's not markets. That's not even, it's worse than casinos. Casinos have a small edge on you every game. The market with these things have a huge edge on you. Why? Because psychology says you are going to get in after a big ramp, and boy, you're going to sell down into the close. Psychology. So we just want to start with that because we believe that's muy importante, and we don't want any of you caught in it. And let me repeat, I don't know what's next. But just in case, We don't want you getting caught in it. And if somebody bought the open yesterday and did not trade it, they are losing their arse. And we don't want you losing your arse. A-R-S-E, I believe. Now we segue the market. Something happened yesterday in the market that had our interest. And that was, we had this big inflation number and yields came down. What happened today? That's up next on It's the One and Only Investor's Edge.
Hi, I'm Gary Kaltbaum, host of the nationally syndicated radio show Investor's Edge. We're not just handsome radio people. We manage investors' money for a living, specializing in fee-based discretionary money management. No big commissions, just a fee on the assets that's managed. We also provide a full range of personalized services, including retirement planning, fixed income, and educational needs, all to assist you in achieving your financial goals. Understanding not all individuals have the same needs, we'll carefully evaluate your personal goals to determine a proper investment strategy. If your current approach to investing is not getting you to where you would like to be, call us to make an appointment for a complimentary portfolio review. The number to call is 888-422-5559. That's 888-422-5559. That's 888-422-5559. Investment advisory services offered through Kaltbaum Capital Management.
It's time to switch on the integrator units and get the brain cells working.
You're listening to
Hey, this promises to be fun.
Investor's Edge
The last bastion of quality programming.
with Gary Kaltbaum.
It doesn't get better than this.
Okay. So, of import. As we always tell you, I have no clue about tomorrow. I have every clue about today and what happened today. But let's go back to yesterday. We have been waiting on inflation numbers. Inflation numbers, yippee-yay-yay. And what we have been telling you here is one of the big deciding factors in the market is which way interest rates are going. That's been the big deciding factor. Straight up. Not Jay Powell. And I know when you turn on the TV, all they talk about is whether the Fed is going to lower rates. And every time I'm on TV, I say, don't worry about the Fed. He doesn't matter. Why doesn't he matter when everybody's talking about it? Why listen to Gary? Well, it's because I've been right about the Fed for a long while. We warned you about inflation because of their money printing. We warned you about his money printing causing all kinds of bubbles. You know what the one thing we didn't warn you about? And we did not even think about it. We call it the 3.7. It was almost the 3.8. And what that means is, who the hell wants to sell a house with a 3% mortgage and buy another house and have a 7.5% mortgage? Thus, nobody wanted to sell until, because of the 3% mortgage, prices have gone through the roof in some areas, which are now coming down. I don't know if you know this, a bunch of areas, housing prices are crashing from the high end because they went into fantasy land. That was because of the Fed. Just remember, when you had 0% interest rates, that wasn't the free market. That was one man and his whims. Just remember that. And all we have now is the normalization of free markets, and he's not even on the playing field. He is like not even a second string quarterback. He's like the water boy. And he talks, and I hate when he says, we've taken down inflation. They haven't gotten inflation down. They caused the inflation. The reason why inflation's down, it's the natural order of things. Remember, first it was the Putin price hike. Then oil prices came down. Oh, it was because of Biden. Then it went back up again. It's the Putin price hike. They don't know what the hell they're talking about. So we watch the free market because he's no longer printing money. When he's printing money, remember, he printed to $9 trillion and bought the hell out of the bond market. And he took the Fed funds rate down to zero, screwing each and every one of you with your savings. What has happened since the last meeting of the Fed? Interest rates have crumbled. And because interest rates have crumbled, the market has head higher. Simple as that. And today something happened. And whenever we say to you, something broke out of range, we've said that many a time. What that simply means is a stock, an index, a sector, a country. Let's just say that entity is bouncing around between 90 and 100. And every time it hits 100, it gets shot down. But every time it hits 90, it gets picked up. And it's just a bouncing ball between 99 and 100, 90 and 100. But then it stops going down to 90, it only goes down to 95. All of a sudden, it's 95 to 100, it's tightening up. And then it's 98 to 100. It's tightening up even more. But for 6 months, it could not get through that 100, the highs. And then it does. That's what it means by a breakout. And there are breakouts that are important and then some unimportant. The most important breakouts is simple. The indices, the NASDAQ 100, the S&P 500. I'm going to say a little less so the Dow, though it matters. And all I can tell you today, the S&P broke above the old highs of March. The NASDAQ, which edged a little higher above, no, it didn't yesterday, it broke above today. The NASDAQ 100 broke above today. The XLK, which is Technology Sector Exchange Traded Fund, broke above the new highs. Now, just because something breaks out does not mean it's going to stick. We have told you in rougher markets, breakouts will fail. But when the indices break out, it's usually meaningful. Why? A simple line. New highs beget more highs. Why? Well, the S&P 500, it's 500 stocks. It's not going to be all 500, but if a bunch of them are breaking out, it's a meaningful thing. The NASDAQ is, I don't know how many names are in the NASDAQ, but it's a bunch. It's a meaningful thing. The NASDAQ 100, only 100 names, but it's a meaningful thing, and you can tell which ones are doing the trick. And then you lower it a little bit to important names. Guess what you had? Some important names moving to highs today. There is your story. New yearly highs on the indices. The SOX, the Philadelphia Semiconductor Index, is not there yet, but it is close. And you had alarm bells going off. We had told you NVIDIA was tightening up, and boy, did it make a move today. They report earnings in 7 days. And we'll see if this sticks. If this sticks, bullish. And that's it. Sentence ends. If it sticks, bullish. Sentence ends. Now, that said, Not everything is going along for the ride, as usual. The transports continue to act like the south end of a northbound jackass. But on the other end, the small caps, dare I say, they're sure trying to come on now. Every time I say that, they fail, though. And there's some other areas that are laboring now. The oils, they're laboring. But that's actually a good thing if oil prices stay down. They're laboring. And of course, we have this one screen of buried stocks. They bounced today. Up next, we'll keep going with this. Thanks for being here. I'm Gary. This is the one and only Investor's Edge.
Listening to
America is talking.
Investor's Edge.
He's got to be pleased with that. The crowd is just on its feet here. He's a Cinderella boy.
With Gary Kaltbaum.
Comes highly recommended. You're going to feel better if you talk to him.
And welcome once again to Investor's Edge. If I am correct, you had some pretty good volume on the NASDAQ today. I can't tell the S&P. It doesn't matter. The market is at highs. Let's see if the new highs beget new highs as we move forward. The other part of the equation, as I said, the semis, they're on the move. Yesterday I said to you, if financials are strong, very tough to take markets down. And let me repeat why this is going on. It is that correlation between lower yields, which, by the way, the 10-year yield dropped another 0.89 today. What does that mean? That means it dropped from 4.45, to 4.356 on the 10-year yield. And I believe the combination of the Fed easing, which I told you they did, the unprinting of printed money, and maybe not so great news, which will lead to my next statement. So they came out with some economic numbers this morning, and may I state for the record, they're not very good. That said, you know the question that's always asked the people, do you think we're going in recession? You think we are going in recession? You think we're going in recession? You think we're going in recession? What do you think? You think we're going in recession? I will almost promise you, because I can't promise anything. I can't guarantee anything. Got to respect the regulators. But I can certainly tell you that most often the market will know if we go into recession because it'll take a crap. Simple as that. And the market isn't taking a crap right now. Let me give you some things. Retail sales, much worse than expected. The New York Fed Empire State Manufacturing, much worse than expected. And pretty much, I would call it on the recession front. Manufacturing, at least, overall. Now, manufacturing, there's also services which matter also. And I believe there was a housing market index that came out much less than expected. So I think the combination of, we had this CPI inflation BS number today, which was accommodating. It was nice. Nothing bad. Versus the PPI yesterday, the Producer Price Index. But yesterday, even with that, yields came down. Well, they came down a lot more today. And the combination of that, which takes down the dollar, lifts the market, and that's what you got today. Simple as that. Advanced declines good on the New York, not so great on the NASDAQ, but new highs really picked up. Dow is up 0.9%. The S&P 1.2, 1.15. The NASDAQ was up about 1.4. NASDAQ 100 about 1.5. The semiconductor index about 2.6, 2.7. And just a good tone for what we call the risk-on areas, except for the meme stocks, which I don't want to say I hope you listened, because I got news for you. There's money to make trading around them, but I certainly hope you listened on an overall basis. Remember what I told you amazingly. All I did was come on this show and say, just be careful, because I really don't know how this plays out. This was Monday, and somebody that night rips me on Twitter, a faceless dolt that doesn't show who they are, but rips me and starts having conversation with somebody else that's just a moniker, a faceless person. Hey, do you see what this moron has to say? And all we said to you was, just be careful, because it's going to be very random, and in the end, they will go back where they came from. And as I said, from the highs, from the open yesterday, in the 50s for AMC, in the 40s for GameStop, and I say that telling you I don't know what they do tomorrow. Maybe they gap them up, maybe they gap them down, or maybe they take them back already where they came from in 3 days. Thus the next, the crypto woke up. And leave no doubt the crypto is somewhat of a risk-on entity. So just letting you know. On a technical basis, yeah, it looks like finally trying to put in a whatever. And by the way, I don't think by any accident they topped out right when the semis did. And as we have told you, the high-octane part of that equation is the MicroStrategy. But if you can stand watching something go from 2,000 down to 1,000 in 4 weeks, good luck to you. By the way, it's back up from 1,000 to 1,500 in a matter of 8, 9, 10, 11 days. Good luck if you can handle that. Hopefully you have some Xanax and Valium available. And that's the story what we're watching. Now, I heard some people also, earnings are good. Come on, earnings suck. There were good earnings. There's some very good earnings for some. But on the whole, come on. Who are they trying to kid earnings? Yeah, Bank of America, new yearly high. Earnings down 19. That's terrific. Texas Instruments, new yearly high. Earnings down 35. Oh, by the way, Texas Instruments not only new yearly high, but it's kind of moving. And guidance is for down 30 also. So again, we don't know what's taken place here as far as the fundamental side, because there's a lot of stocks that have been on the move that the numbers are just The hope is that the earnings recover in a very big way. If they don't, you are ending up with a hell of a lot of high valuations. The other part of the equation, interest rate sensitive. We've been telling you utilities have been strong, and I think that's been saying something, but the housing stocks woke up today, and some housing related also. In fact, the housing ETFs jumped back above the all-important 50-day moving average today. And that's of import. And I also have to mention the very weak software group that broke back above the 50-day today as Microsoft jumped back above today, which is a start. Not the end-all be-all, but a start. But the most important part of the equation, ladies and gentlemen, is very simple. New yearly highs in the big indices. And quite the often, new yearly highs beget even more highs. Tomorrow's Thursday. We'll see what happens. I know somebody who swears the market's topping on Friday. A lot would have to happen for that to happen, may I state for the record, as some pretty good action as I speak. And that's a little market story. And we'll be here every day, keeping you abreast of the situation. But also, just remember, there's a ton of stocks in bad shape. A ton of stocks in bad shape. And we'll stay out. Won't go near them. Rails, truckers, pew. Casinos, pew. Bunch of the hotels, pew. Oils, most of them now, ugh. A ton of retail, blah. Up next, speaking of blah, what's going on in Washington? I'm Gary. This is the one and only Investor's Edge.
You're listening to
What are we waiting for?
Well, what are you waiting for?
1, 2, ready, go.
Action!
Investor's Edge with Gary Kaltbaum.
Hey, welcome once again to Investor's Edge. Hey, did I tell you? Is it amazing, sports? So the Knicks get whooped in Indiana, and they just whoop right back in New York last night. Isn't it amazing? Jalen Brunson over 40 again. Nice. They're up 3-2 going to 6th game in Indiana. Man, oh man. The Rangers are still up 3-2 after going up 3-0, but they are in Carolina. Do not lose a 3-0 in hockey. They were just outplayed last game in New York. Boston looks the best in the NBA, though. I hate saying that. But that's why they play the games. In the news, well, I don't know if you know this, but the colleges have been cutting deals with the ass clowns. They cut deals with the encampments, I heard, in Harvard and a couple of other places. And I'm just thinking they cut deals and, they gave... I'm not going to say gave away the store, but here's what I don't understand. And you can correct me if I'm wrong. You're a college. You have authority. You have students breaking the law and knowingly breaking the law. You have videos of some of the students attacking others for being Jewish. Hate crimes. You have others blocking students, Jewish, from going into the library to study, cornering them in corners, not letting them move. By the way, there's a law against that. Yet you negotiate with these pieces of crap, and do you know what they negotiated on? You ready for this? If they were suspended, immediately cancel the suspension. Number one, really? So in other words, you do all this, and we're just going to give you the store. Oh, we're going to have now a committee to negotiate on where you invest your money. Oh, in other words, us anti-Semites don't want you investing in Israel anymore. And you negotiate that? It's insanity. Do you know, here in Florida, and it hasn't been perfect, but it's pretty damn close. University of Florida basically put out a note without saying it, said, yeah, try and see what happens. And guess what? There wasn't any of that crap going on. Have you also noticed a little bit of dying down, all this worry about Israel going to the southern border of Rafah on Egypt, where, by the way, Egypt is upset that Israel, when they should be thanking Israel, Egypt will not let a Palestinian in. I don't know if you know, but Israel has done a fantastic job in Rafah. They've gotten a ton of terrorists. They're finding arms in the UN denoted areas. Isn't that lovely? And they've done more to move people around. Did you also know, and this is not because you don't want any innocents dying, you know, all this talk of the Hamas-run health ministry and how many people are dead there. Well, they cut the UN, even the UN cut that in half and even more than that. And we're also finding out a bunch of terrorists were counted as Palestinians. You know what I say to the terrorists? I can't say it on radio. Have you noticed that part of the equation is quieted down? Even though NBC Today show, you know, that nice little morning show, that sweet morning show has gone totally into anti-Israel, which means the rest of them, God, amazing dumbasses. Anyway, that was in the news and is less in the news. And I will make a prediction. Just me. Gary Schwartzkopf. I give it about 60 days and the job's going to get done. They'll pull out, and then there's going to be something negotiated as far as security. And then the big, I don't know if you know this, you know how they say apartheid? Do you know how many tens of thousands of Palestinians would come into work in Israel every morning? That ain't happening anymore. And I doubt will happen because of terrorists. Yeah, apartheid, right? I think it was like 100 to 200,000 Palestinians every day going to work into Israel. Oh, by the way, a couple of 100,000 Arabs were during Ramadan in Israel praying at their site. Just letting you know the apartheid that's going on in Israel. I give it about 60 days. But if you want it, you think Israel had secure borders before all this, the hammer's going to be put down. That's going to be the end of that. And we'll see how it plays out. We'll keep you up to date on it because it is important that this great miracle in the Middle East, this great democracy, this land, the people that unbeknownst to the liars, or maybe beknownst, treat everybody equally, while across the border where everybody's being defended, you want to be gay, you're dead. So we pull no punches on it. And we never will because we know the truth in the story. And we think leadership here is really let down for political reasons. And we won't forget that anytime soon. That's in my news, ladies and gentlemen. Otherwise, the Trump trial remains in the news. I have no idea what comes of it, but as I have said to you, it would have never come to trial if it was a Democrat. That's how it's working right now in the justice system, unfortunately. That all said, you all have a great evening. Drive carefully. I'll be on with Varney and Company tomorrow. Stuart Varney, the great Stuart Varney, 10 a.m. Fox Business. And same time here tomorrow. You'll have a great evening. Drive carefully. When you get home, do like we do. Quite simple. Make sure you hug your family. Make sure you hug your children. They will feel better. You will feel better, I promise. Thanks for joining us. Peace out. Have a great day. Good night, all. Bye-bye.
This has been Investor's Edge with Gary Kaltbaum on BizTalk. To listen to past episodes or to get in contact with Gary, go to GaryK.com. That's GaryK.com.